Yo, folks, we're back this week. Nigeria Miranda, and it's time for our Impact on Access TV review. We got so much to talk about tonight. So many things as far as the show tonight, so many things as far as news, and so many things that just involve Impact, period. But before we get into it, Miranda, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we are getting closer and closer to Bound for Glory. And outside of just what happened tonight on Impact, I know there's some news you want to talk about. So, yeah, let's get to it.
Yes, 18 days till Bound for Glory. We're just coming off of the Victory Road pay-per-view, so that means that all lanes are taking us to Bound for Glory now. What an exciting day we've had. So both of us was able to attend the Press Pass conference, which had
Yes.
special guests Scott D'Amore, Chris Sabin, and Ace Austin, which was a good time. Actually, you can see the question I got to ask for that,
Yeah.
right?
You
Yeah,
get it. You guys, not only a good question, but you got a shout out from Josh Matthews. So
that's true.
I would definitely recommend anyone to go and watch that. I believe it's on Impact's Facebook page. You can see
Yeah.
the whole stream
Yep.
and check it out, not only for Nigeria, but for all of the other awesome questions that were asked,
Did
but
absolutely
especially for
right.
Nigeria, especially for you.
I'm gonna
Highlight of the entire press pass.
look. I'm just gonna put that clip in here right now for you guys. So take a look at this right here.
Bill, thank you very much, guys. Be sure to check out WrestleZone and appreciate the coverage that WrestleZone provides to Impact Wrestling each and every week as we get ready for the show tonight. Just a few short hours away. A couple more episodes of Impact Wrestling before we get to Bound for Glory live on the 24th of October. Next up is Najir Chambers. Najir, do you have a question for either Ace or Chris Sabin?
Do it for the both of them if that's okay.
You got it,
We'll
my friend.
start off with Ace. Now, Ace, it would not be a Bound for Glory if you was not in the championship contention. So, with that being said, what type of prep and conversations have you had with Madman Fulton, who's just a little inexperienced on the grandest stage for gold?
I think that, well, for me, I'm always ready, clearly. If Bound for Glory last year was evidence of anything, I've always got the ace up my sleeve. As far as Madman Fulton goes, I think what he might lack in the big match experience, he certainly makes up for in absolute raw power, size, strength. Look at the man. There's not much he needs to do to get ready. He's an immovable object.
Right on, right on. And for you, Chris, now, Chris, your track record is one of those guys who just gets in the ring and does the wrestles. When you're out there, you perform at the highest level, no matter where you're at in the entire world. But what we're seeing right now at Impact is we're getting to see a little bit of that charismatic side of you with some of the backstage segments that you've been having, especially with the Good Brothers. How has it been able to show a little bit of your personality on a regular basis now?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, I don't know if anyone has been able to tell for the last 20 years. I get extremely nervous whenever it comes time to do promos. I've always been like that, just like my nerves are off the charts. So I think that I've been able to relax a lot more. And I think when I'm able to relax, then that natural charisma comes out. So, just got to work on relaxing in front of the camera. It's not easy. Even after 20 years, it's not easy for me to relax in front of the camera. So unless I'm wrestling, I'm super relaxed but when I have to talk and jabberjaw, that's different.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Najir, are you still with us? Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, man, can you send a message to either Simon or Ross? You get to win the Josh Matthews just decided $25 gift card to shopimpact.com for the IPWF shirt because I love it.
Awesome.
Those guys will get your information and we'll get you some stuff sent over. Okay, my friend?
Right on. Thank you so much, y'all.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you for all the questions.
All right, so I'm not going to toot my horn or anything, but hey, look, I got to tell you something. I've never really won anything ever in my life, so like this is really exciting for me. This was really dope. So I'm definitely on cloud 9 from that, but not just that. It was just an overall good. It was a good conference because The one thing about I like it is that, you know, Ace Austin, being the character he is, I like how he's able to really bridge the character and the person together and really put on a good press conference. It's something you kind of take for granted. Like if you know anybody's listening, if you've ever either interviewed a wrestler, spoke to a wrestler, sometimes they're so in character that is completely shut down. And considering that Ace is pretty much a narcissist, he could have easily just negated every question, but he gave really good answers. So I was really high on that. What could you expect from Chris Sabin? He's a living legend. And then Scott D'Amore, who's just been like dripping with charisma over the last few like months or so, especially, you know, ever since Slammiversary, when Impact really you know, really made a statement in the world of professional wrestling. Scott D'Amore has been on cloud nine himself. So being able to talk to him about the business, about the new TV deal and stuff like that, like, how can you not root for the guy? And you can just see the happiness radiating from him. So like the three of them together, this was it was a trio that I didn't think was gonna go as good as it did, and it superseded that. So like really, really good time.
I think it was a great press call. You know, I think that we also got to see a side of Chris Sabin too, when, you know, he talked about lots of questions about him being back at Impact after so long. And in particular, he was asked about, you know, putting over other guys and you know, other teams. And, you know, he flat out said, nah, I'm not ready for that. That putting over, and I don't know how coy of that he was, you know, but I love that. And yeah, I mean, Ace Austin, he kept referencing, you know, he's the inevitable, you know, all roads lead to Ace Austin. So it definitely builds up the hype for Bound for Glory, especially that four-way tag. I mean, it really helps showcase, you know, how amazing that match is going to be.
Yeah. That question, I was like, oh, I was very curious about how that was going to be answered, and I definitely appreciated how it was. But yeah, definitely, like Miranda said, you watch the entire press, what they call it, the Press Pass conference call podcast on Impact Wrestling's Facebook group. It's about an hour and a half, but it has, there's some really good questions and answers being done there, so check it out. With that being said, a couple of things I want to say. I just want to make announcements for really fast. Number one, now you all know I've been saying it for a long time. Tasha Steelz is my homegirl. That's my girl. Been so happy with her being signed to Impact. And you know, with that, it's a lot I can say about that, but I'm truly happy about her being signed to Impact. But I need you all to do me a favor and go report her Twitter page, because that baby is hacked right now. Somebody done completely hacked it, and
that's awful.
Which I'll just show a quick screenshot of that right now. You're looking at it. Clearly, this is not her page. So go do her a favor and report it, shall I say. That way she can reclaim her page that is rightfully hers, and not whoever this bozo is that decided to hack it and use it for their own. So whatever. And it put a lot of effort into this too. So this is like really stupid, but whatever. Next thing to talk about is EC3. Now, I have been saying for the longest about this controlling the narrative thing. And I'm going to tell you, and we're probably going to spend a quick maybe 5 to 10 minutes on this really fast. The whole idea of the controlling the narrative gimmick, it, for me, did not mean to go back, sign somewhere, and just be another person on the roster. And everything that he's been talking about, everything he's been building, indicated that it wasn't going to be that. But traditionally, regardless of what it is, that's what happens. And I hate to say it, but Madison Rayne almost said that about Brian Myers on about 3 occasions on the match today. Yeah. So she kept, and she studied it, because she was going to that point of saying he came here to control his, and she could not think of a word because she knew the idea of saying control. It works. Traditionally, that works. But what EC3 doing is monumental. And ever since he pointed out that location, and it looked like Jersey, it could have been Baltimore, like somebody said, and it wasn't quite New York. But we know ROH headquarters is in Baltimore, about 30 minutes north of me. Not even 30 minutes, about 15 minutes north of me. Damn. And if it was Jersey, it's about 2 hours north of me. So anywhere in that region, and the significance here is that Baltimore is ROH, and New Jersey has been where independent shows have been running. So you're talking about the Collective, GCW and everything. So all the shows where Jerry Janela and all them been running their shows that have been in that area. So he pointed out that location, and they didn't put too much more emphasis on it, but you had to think, well, why? And the idea of like, if you're pointing out a location there, it must have some significance. And you know, all the wrestling wizards and our fans that watch the shows, like, it's got to be one of these. Much like we've been saying, the fact that ROH of yesterday put out a promo video of EC3 completely controlling his narrative in a complete EC3 style of promo. It is completely his on their official page. Lets you know that something huge is about to happen, and it's because we haven't seen this. And I don't come for me, nobody talking about we've seen people work multiple promotions. No, this is different. And what's different about this? No one's ever worked 2 televised promotions at the same time. So that means if he's on ROH doesn't have dark matches or whatever right now. They're getting ready to start shows, but whatever they do is actual TV time footage, recordings, whatever. So that ROH thing means we're going to see him in ROH at some point. And what's cool about that is that if you watch the interview, the press pass conference today with Scott D'Amore, he completely said, like, hey, we're open for business. The doors is open. He totally gave EC3 his blessings for this, which means that Impact, much like that tweet came out about FTR working on Motor City Machine Guns, which was also addressed today on the call. They're cool with it. They're open for this. They're understanding that the landscape of wrestling is different. It's changed. You don't have to work the same model of being against each other. Everyone can help everybody grow if we make sure it's in best interest. AEW is doing it with NWA, and now we're seeing this. We've seen ROH and New Japan do it in the past. New Japan seems to be doing their own thing right now and just trying to gain some American territory. But Impact now, who's had partnerships with NWA in the past and so on, is now looking like we're getting ready to see something with ROH. And whether it's a partnership or whether it's just EC3 controlling his narrative, this is must talk in the wrestling world right now. I am completely optimistic to seeing how this is going to go. So, Miranda, what you got for me?
No, I mean, going back to what we talked about on this cast, and there was definitely lots of teasers. Even EC3 himself had teased and mentioned that Impact is not the only company he's going to work for. He blatantly said that, and I don't know how many of us really believed it. I know at one point he was teasing maybe working with AEW, and many of us thought that was the direction he was going to go in before even ever coming back to Impact. But now that ROH has made it official through their social media pages, posting this promo from EC3 and pretty much affirming that they are going to be working with him sometime in the future, is one big for EC3. He is doing something that is really unprecedented right now in professional wrestling, to actively be working with. I think we've seen clips of that where maybe inactively, maybe a wrestler's worked with a company and due to tapings, it looks like they're maybe working simultaneously for a company, but ultimately they're really actively with one. This could be the case where he is actively working for both Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. And that's a beautiful tie-in because we can still see some of his character work and character development and Impact, but we may be able to see some of his best wrestling at Ring of Honor, or even both. He could bring some of that character and drama to Ring of Honor, which they definitely could benefit from. I mean, it's it's big, big news. And if anything, though, this benefits both companies as well. To have this partnership, fans of both will be able to see him on both products, and who knows, this could lay the framework for more talent switching over, or a larger partnership between the two companies.
Yeah, look, I'll add something for you right now. Let's not forget what he said at the end of his promo today, and that's free Moose. Now, Moose ain't no stranger to ROH, and I don't know where they want to have this dance at. But if it sounds like the dance can go anywhere, and if they got plans and just trying to do this anywhere, maybe Moose is another person who may be optimistic, who may be like truly optimistic on if EC3 is doing that. We know he's Mr. Impact for sure, but like, I don't think he would be opposed to wanting to do something with ROH. I mean, it's good for business. And again, another example is NWA, how they're staying afloat. They haven't ran a show since, what, April? But why are they still relevant? Because their women's champion is on AEW, and Nick Aldis was having this program going with ROH before this all happened, and they're getting ready to start running live shows after their peer tournament. But like, not live shows, excuse me, additional show. I guess they are gonna. I actually don't know the status of that. I gotta think about that for a second. I do, but whatever. But nonetheless, like, that's how you say business, because they understand, like, if we're going to grow, if we're going to actually have a fighting chance against the big machine, then we got to just do things unconventional. Not like the same model of like, let's try to take them on, let's try to compete. No, just do your own thing. And there's another statement I'm gonna make tonight when we get into the show. But yeah, I got that same feeling I got when EC3 first dropped this first promo on his social media, and I'm like, okay, this feels different. This seems more genuine. And then you're like, he signed. You're just like, okay, where's this going? I mean, last week, or not last week, but on, what was it? Saturday, Sunday, a review for 50 Road. I said, hey, I would like to see EC3 in the ring at some point. But hey, if this is the payout for this being drawn on, I'm cool with this. So, EC3 to ROH, looks like that's what's happening. If Moose shows up to ROH, I'm cool with it. Hey, if EC3 matches cost because of Moose showing up, it's all for it. So this is going to be cool. So I'm super excited. Fans, you gotta let me know if you all are digging this. Definitely let me know in the comments now, because like, it's definitely getting ready to 2021. It's definitely gonna be a really interesting year as we're starting to see some really interesting things occur, and the landscape of professional wrestling seem to be taking another boom in another direction. When people, because if you know anything about wrestling, it's more of a monkey see monkey do type of business. One person do this, they're gonna be like, well, wait, if EC3 is doing this, I want to get this in my contract. I want to have a way to move around like that and be on two televised and work between two promotions or whatever it may be. And not to mention, that might just ultimately draw tons more talent to both of these promotions, the two promotions that could really use it. Because, I mean, as much as I like Impact, people don't give them a fair shot of saying they're, the second best brand in professional wrestling. People quickly give that to AEW. But I said, like, Impact has showed resilience over years as to how they can keep adapting and changing to the times, and that they're still here. So, that's how I look at it. And now with them taking a different approach in things, and something else I'm going to talk about in a second, how can you not by any means be interested to the point now of saying like, yo, this can definitely mold some crazy content, matches, etc. in the future. So super exciting time. I almost don't even want to talk about the show tonight, because man, that's what I wanted to talk about.
But we got it. We watched it. I know our listeners and viewers want to know our thoughts. Yeah. And like you said, we are 18 nights away from Bound for Glory. Yeah. So I mean, this show was packed full of stuff. Also from some of the results of Victory Road, which we did also review. If you guys want to check that out, make sure to look at the videos below. But we did review Victory Road for you from this past Saturday. So if you want to know our thoughts on it, check that video out.
Agreed. Good time, good show. We definitely break it all down, and there's a lot of little interesting tidbits that we're starting to see to come to fruition. But yes, let's get into tonight's show on Access TV. Now, the first match, and again, this is your first time watching this. We don't break down every single match. We just talk about the things you must turn into. But I am going to quickly skim over some things because, like, I got some thoughts that I feel like is really relevant into mentioning these matches. But so, first match is the Brian Myers and Tommy Dreamer Part 2. Again, this match did nothing for me. I feel like there was no point of having this match, with especially coming off of this pay-per-view. Again, to Madison Rayne commentary about Brian Myers and his, sort of channeling his minor EC3 gimmick and controlling his,
story.
Story.
The word's at the source when you need it. What's another word for narrative? Narrative.
Yeah, it was a man. But nonetheless, I felt like this match lacked energy for me. But the one thing about this that I do want to talk about is that and the reason why I'm bringing this match up is because I feel like what Brian Myers is channeling, and again, I am Brian Myers. I'm on board with him. I'm without a doubt. This match did nothing for me. But what Brian Myers is channeling is what I wanted Heath to do, to get this slight aggression to, and while he is the most professional wrestler, whatever Heath gimmick is, and we'll talk about Heath in a little bit, I think I would have liked Heath to be the one to go off the rails first, to see like there's a change in character here. And I see what's happening to Brian Myers is a little bit of what I've been wanting Heath to channel. There's still time for it to happen. Yeah. But when I seen it instantly, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I've been thinking. Like, this is what I want Heath to do. But, I hope that this Battle of New York thing with his mentor, Tommy Dreamer, is done.
Yes. Well, it's Tommy Dreamer. Again, I mean, we talked about this after the match at Victory Road. It's great that Brian Myers is continuing to be showcased. He's continuing to get wins, but does it really mean anything if it's from Tommy Dreamer? I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just that when you look at Tommy Dreamer, he is kind of that guy that the company uses to help put people over, and it works. But when you think about what's going to be good for Brian Myers, he really needs to have good wins. I mean, I almost think that we should have started his comeback or his whatever he's doing with Tommy, and then see him in a program with Willie Mack.
Yeah.
I think if they would have switched that around, that would have had more meaning, because then you're doing something with, someone who's phenomenal like Willie, who's an extremely talented wrestler. And he could have taken that mean streak to the next level. I just feel like there's things that are out of order here. And I don't know if, his outburst tonight is going to have the same meaning and impact to the story as if it would happen to somebody else. So yeah. I agree that it didn't really do much for me. And I hope that this isn't part of a longer story. If anything, maybe this woke something up in Brian that he then takes with him into his next matches.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Going on to week 2 now of the Defeat Rohit Challenge, the Mocha Skin Manimal. I am at some point going to steal that. I got to say that my emotions in this match was a roller coaster.
Right?
I was first of all, I was getting so pissed that I woke up and was watching Victory Road again, because I was like, Willie Mack again? I was like, nah, no. Whatever they was thinking, and the awkwardness of Willie Mack was completely getting ready to have me like multitasking while watching. But nonetheless, I've been saying this for so long.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for so long. And I have not mentioned this person's name since some incidents happened in Impact and they were released. But I've been saying for long that Tessa Blanchard is not the only woman who can do intergender wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You have about a good
at
4 to 5. Yeah,
at
least 3.
At least 3 for sure, and but more. Absolutely more.
I mean, Tasha Steelz for one screams at me. Havoc, how can I forget? Is another one. I can't believe I watched the Havoc versus Nick Gage match. Like that happened in my life. Yeah, that did.
Yeah.
But Jordynne Grace, Taya Valkyrie, look, Jordynne Grace is the person. Kylie Rae, yes. the talent is there, and I kept saying that I did not feel that with Impact trying to do something special with intergender wrestling, should it have been predicated to one person? And I'm, now that person's gone, it's like, when are you going to revisit that? That's what y'all had special. It had no negative backlash. You actually drew more women to want to come to the promotion because they can work that style of match. And women will tell you that sometimes they like working with guys better because they're stronger bases and they can do more of the stuff that they want to do. And not even just that, take all that away. Some of them say, I've been doing it my entire career.
Yeah.
I don't want to
and there's nothing else like it on televised pro wrestling on television. Yes. No other company is doing that. So that also will make you set apart from, honestly, really stiff competition in televised pro wrestling. So I mean, I squealed when, I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but I didn't
look. Beyond being excited, you can see the excitement in Jordynne Grace's face. Like, I feel like she almost missed a step coming down the ramp. She didn't even pose. She was like, oh,
she just went straight to the ring.
I mean, to be in that spotlight gotta mean the utmost to her. And I'm just so head over heels excited for it. Regardless of how the match was booked, and we see the ultimate payoff for it. Please, Impact, get back to this. Allow the women, and again, we've talked to people in the past where they say like, well, everybody's not for it, which is good. I like a locker room where everybody can voice what they're comfortable with and what they're not. But I can guarantee you about 80% of the women in that locker room would say, yeah, I'll do it. Not a problem.
And again, you have a good amount of your Knockouts division who does this on the independent scene. They do it on the weekends. Whether they want to bring that to Impact, that is absolutely their choice. But
it is money to be made.
It's just I loved this, and it was very short-lived, unfortunately. Another trick of Rohit Raju in the Beat Rohit Challenge, who said, Jordynne got the roll-up in this, counted to 3, and for just a brief second, we saw a world where Jordynne Grace was your X Division champion.
Yeah.
But, he told the ref that he didn't put the belt on the line. That was not his intention with this challenge. And the ref agreed. But you know what? He was met in the back by Scott D'Amore, who had a very interesting, not solution, but, commending Rohit for giving, people on the roster opportunities. Yeah. And you know what? He wanted to take it a notch above that and booked a 6-man scramble for Bound for Glory.
Look, I love the cutting that backstage video immediately off the ramp. This is the second time we're seeing it. I'm loving that. I think that's like really good cinematography, and it's different. We don't see it in that manner in any promotion, so I like that. But yeah, the 6-way scramble, much like last year Bound for Glory, where it was intergender for the X Division Championship. So they're kind of doubling down a little bit on that, and I love the fact that the people involved and Jordynne Grace being involved there. I mean, I know there's a championship to be won, but to think about Chris Bay and Jordynne Grace in anything, I don't even know where to go from here. The moment them two get a solo spot in the ring, I'm going to lose myself. Yeah, I know there's a main event that's happening at Bound for Glory, but I can tell you that this in the tag match.
Look, I already know I'm going to be way more invested in the 6-way scramble. I just have to admit. I mean, one, they've set it up really well. I even joked when we were doing our Victory Road review that eventually they were going to need almost a battle royal in order to determine the #1 contender, because it's been so competitive in this division and people have just been beating each other left and right. This is likely the best solution for that. I mean, literally, Jordynne Grace pinned Rohit Raju in the middle of that ring, and she has just as much of a claim to stake in the X Division as everybody else in that match. TJP, Trey Miguel, Chris Bay, Willie Mack, and now Jordynne Grace. I mean, Rohit is going to have his hands full, and he did it to himself. Let's admit it. He did this to himself. So I don't feel that bad. I'm going to say it. I don't feel bad for him.
I can't wait for that. All right, so Triple XL and the Rascals, I think, came up next. And, like, nothing to talk about here besides I like the match that they had opening up Victory Road. Again, another repeat of Victory Road. Again, another win repeat from Victory Road. So back-to-back wins. But I will say this, that Triple XL got this new aggression, and good for them. But what I didn't like about this is the reason why the Rascals won is, well, you got to put a claim in them being in a tag team championship picture. Well, if you had Triple XL win, then you could also reinstate that same claim for them and everybody just be at a balanced tier. So you're keeping a bottom tag team on the bottom, which is, I get it, somebody's got to be at the bottom, but like with the tag division booming like it is, I want to see competition claims everywhere, and that's where having the Rascals win didn't do it for me. So whatever.
No, it's a really valid point. Again, I mean, half of the show already is somewhat of a repeat of things that we just saw a few days earlier. You know, like what, you know, maybe just a little different spin or flavor to it, but literally the first three things on the show were repeat. Now, again, a little bit of a different spin, but, you know, they've done a lot of work in a short amount of time to rebuild the tag division. And as we'll talk about, too, with the main event, you know, 4 of your top tag teams are all going to be in a big match at Bound for Glory. So you need to build up contenders. So that way, when that match is out of the way, you know, you have another team ready to stake a claim in for those tag team belts. And so, and again, I mean, they've done some great work in building up team Triple XL. You know, I mean, they had a fun stint at Wrestle House, but now they have a more serious tone. You don't want all of that to go to waste and having them lose matches.
Exactly. I can't agree. I cannot agree more. So, but you know, it's still a little bit of time, about 18 days. So we'll see. There seems to be a place on Bound for Glory for everybody, and somehow they'll make this work out. Now, we got the Rich Swann update as he prepares for Bound for Glory, and to our utmost pleasure, we get to see our friend Dr. Foreman, who gives an update.
Dr. Foreman. I love. I would call him by his first name, but I'm not. It's Dr. Foreman.
I feel like Jimmy Jacobs was like, and Dr. Foreman. I was like, smart move there, buddy. Things are gonna whatever.
Dr. Foreman he was very optimistic about Rich Swann's recovery, though.
Very optimistic.
Until
too optimistic. I mean, hold on. Let me state the claim real quick. First of all, going back to the conference call, Scott D'Amore did say that people in the company do wear multiple hats, so this is legitimate. Thank God if I had got a chance to ask another question, God knows
you would have killed it. You should have. You should have.
But hit my thing again, and you all know you've been watching that I've been a little suspicious about Rich Swann recovery. Number one, I'm going to say Dr. Foreman said that he is ready to go for Bound for Glory. Matter of fact, he's ready to go today. I'm not buying that. I'm not convinced. I hated every bit of this segment because it felt like a promo. And I want to feel authentic from a guy who's sustained a real injury to return. And maybe it's just Rich Swann presentation, but everything he does feels like some type of a promo he's cutting. And I just wanted to feel a little bit more authentic. And again, that's me being really critical about this because the guy suffered a career-ending injury. And I don't want it to be sold as like, you know, some type of gimmick that he's getting better. He did get a real injury. And it could have been career-threatening, whatever it may be. So...
And it's interesting that he said he's ready to go, but then what do we saw this on Saturday? He was kind of limping to the ring. So what kind of magic happened between Saturday and Tuesday that he he no longer is limping to the ring? Like how does that all work out? You know, like that continuity, you know, it just didn't work for me.
What's that shot that they say the NFL players get when they're hurt? They say they give them this shot on the sideline.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's some something magical, something that I don't know, something magical. But you know, I mean, with that from Dr. Ross's mouth to Eric Young's ears, because what do you know, Eric Young just attacked him. I guess he was disguised as like a physical therapist or some kind of assistant, and literally just attacked the leg of Rich Swann, re-injuring it. And that's the part I'm not fond of in this case. It's like literally the leg is the entire story when there's so much more. Like there's so much layer and depth with Eric Young about his story coming back, about his reinvention. There's just so many layers to this on Eric Young's side, and he's the villain in this. But then with Rich Swann, there's really it's one dynamic, and that is the leg. That's the one thing that seems to be the whole story about him. Yeah. And he's the hero. He's the guy you should be rooting for. But it's very hard. It's a challenge, not because I don't think he's a nice or lovely guy, but there's nothing about his story right now that's really drawing me and thinking that, he even deserves this shot. Even all the times EY is attacking his leg. I agree, didn't do it for me. There's continuity issues. There's just fandom things that I'm just not being drawn to Rich Swann. If anything, I'm being more drawn to Eric Young.
Yeah. By the way, that shot is called the shot is called Toradol. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna move forward a little bit with because of time's sake, because I definitely wasted a lot of time in the beginning talking about other stuff. Quickly, I want to talk about Rosemary and Ty Valkyrie versus Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan. Now, I love this match. I love these teams. This was super entertaining. But I now am going to make my next prediction. It's not even a big, bold one, because I think we all can kind of put together 1 and 2 here. Well, we all know where this is going. This is all establishing legitimate tag teams here for Bound for Glory to bring back the Knockouts tag team titles. You got Nevaeh and Havoc waiting in the shadows, and you had 2 legit teams here, and you got all 3 of them facing each other next week. I'll expect that to just end in some type of whatever. Maybe another team gets involved, but that's where this is all going. I'm happy for it, and God, could I see Rosemary and Taya being tag team champs. That would be a good look. But any of them could. I mean, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz would be damn entertaining and well-deserved, too. And I can't wait to see Tasha get her first bit of gold and Impact. So that's how I'm feeling that. Anything you want to add on that one?
No, I mean, this match is great. That's the one thing about Impact and the Knockouts division. They've been able to build these tag teams beautifully, and it's just by bringing people together with similar personalities, or in the case of Ty and Rosemary, completely different personalities, but a history together. And, they've been able to weave in and out. It's not something we see every week, but when we see it, it's something special. And they all have their own unique flavor and their own unique spin, and they just have great chemistry. I hope so. I think they would have enough. Even, at this point in time, we don't have Susie and Kylie Ray as a team anymore. And we know that Kimberly and Deonna is kind of more of a partnership of convenience. But even those 3 teams, that's enough to be able to build a good story. And you want to give them some incentive. What are they doing all of this for? If there is a way to bring back the tag titles. But, also, this could just also be a way to just showcase the women's division in a way where everyone gets some more TV time. I mean, we've been talking about these tag titles for a long time now, and they still haven't come up. We thought we could even see a glimpse of this at Slammiversary, and that didn't happen. So I'm thinking if it doesn't happen at Bound for Glory, it may not happen at all.
Yeah, it's the biggest stage, so this is the place that has to happen. I'm also going to make a wild card prediction here and saying that Bound for Glory is always an opportunity for someone to return. And I think this is a good slot to add another tag team, whether it's Madison Rayne teaming up with somebody and returning, that used to be champs. I remember that flashback moment of the week that never manifested anything.
Yep.
Maybe just to have you guys take a trip down memory lane just to remember, like, Madison Rayne used to be a tag champ. A lot of champs, should we say. This makes sense. And she doesn't have anything to do yet for Bound for Glory. And they've already announced who's calling they're going with the OG team for Bound for Glory commentary-wise. So Madison Rayne not going to be calling. So
yeah, she'll be free.
Yeah, she'll have nothing to do. So that could be interesting. Kylie Ray now. Now, we got to see Kylie Ray backstage really quickly. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, one, I think we finally, I don't know if it was an assumption or whatever, but, like, it's confirmed that Susie's arm was broken in this. But Kylie Ray, and the reason I'm bringing this up because you brought up about Kylie Ray, this being an opportunity for Kylie Ray to kind of turn her character to the next notch. You talk about the visual aspect, so I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, she was being interviewed in the back talking about how devastated she was that Susie was her arm was broken by the hands of Deonna and Kimberly. Kimberly then shows up and pretty much says, that's just what happens when you mess with Deonna Purrazzo. And if anything, that was a sign that the exact same thing to her is going to happen for Bound for Glory. I mean, you could see Kylie Rae. She was livid. She was hurt. She had a lot of expression in this, which I really, really liked. We saw more depth to her. And so I get that this is why it happened. I mean, during our Victory Road review, we talked about how we wish we would see so much more out of the Susie to Su Yung transformation. But at the same time, the buildup is really towards Kylie Rae and Deonna Purrazzo. And Kimberly held Kylie Rae back and had to force to watch her friend, the only person truly that has, liked her and supported her since she came to Impact Wrestling, get her arm broken. So I really like the mix of emotions in this. I like the layering of this for Kylie Rae, and I hope it gives her something to dig deep in. As she goes to Bound for Glory, because she's going to have to. Deonna Purrazzo is ruthless, 100%. And so the Smiley Kylie isn't going to cut it if she wants, to give her best foot forward in, her match for the Knockouts Championship.
Yep. Heath and Scott D'Amore. First of all, I don't know if I've said it, but I'll just say it again. I'm loving anything Scott D'Amore in videos and promos, like in backstage videos. Like, I'm all for it. Scott telling Heath, that's a lot of zeros, bro. But the segment was good. It was so legit too. I don't feel like there was a lot of practice going on here. I feel like this is like
they were just off the cuff. They both seem to be very good at it. Now, you did say something earlier about when you're talking about Brian Myers and kind of wishing that Heath had taken that role. I think there is a change in Heath. At the end, after him and Scott went back and forth, and Scott pretty much said, "No, Heath had provided some good numbers and a whole lengthy portfolio of information for Scott." And Scott was kind of surprised, but also like, "I'm not going to pay you that much." Yeah. Heath was very frustrated and went outside with Rhino and said, "I did all of the right things, and it got me nowhere." So I think that there's an attitude that's growing with Heath, and I hope that transforms physically. I'm just, trying to be optimistic. I hope that does put a different tone to Heath, because I absolutely agree. The Heath that we saw when he first came the very first night, that is the Heath we should still have. Someone who's just going for it, someone who's just super ruthless and aggressive. And that seems to be more in the wheelhouse of Brian Myers for now. But I think Heath could do that as well. Maybe it's just going to be a bit of a slower process. Maybe we're just going to see him, even with Rhino. Maybe he feels like it's Rhino's fault that this didn't work and he turns on Rhino. Who knows? I feel like there's still some potential in there because he did have he was super optimistic going into that meeting, and then leaving, he was just crushed. And, it just seemed like he felt like all of this was for nothing.
I mean, look, yeah, I agree. I mean, first of all, Rhino being called Terry was funny. Also bringing up his time on Raw and working that match with McIntyre, then saying the grass is green on the other side. I like all the references here, so that's really going to draw fans into it. But yeah, I don't know if this is so much of a gimmick change here, but more of a natural response. I was going to say, like, this segment just felt really genuine. And I think this is a type of conversation you have with your boss. And I think, not that a lot of people are going to look at it this way, but I think this really resonates with a lot of people's personal life too. You bet on yourself. He got a lawyer, thank you, which was really good. And then he said, "This is what I want." He said, "Hey, we can't pay you that, but hey, if you do something and come back, then we can work your way up to it." I mean, it was pure motivation. Yeah. So if this is the motivation that sparks the fire under his ass to better work, then I'm cool with it. And I think this is probably potentially even better than what I would have hoped, instead of just the regular initial change in character and personality. So like, if this is the thing, then I'm cool with it. So we will see. It is definitely more time left for him to get that together. It's been a slow build, but it's been good. Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. Only thing I want to say is that the old Ken Shamrock coming back gives me the chills. So if that's what we're going for, then go for it. I'm cool with that. Yeah, it's the yelling just like gives me rage. So
Yes.
two
He's the
last
best at
things.
it.
Oh, 100%. And he looks even like
Yes.
comfortable. He even
Yeah.
looks rejuvenated doing that, shall I say. The two last things I want to talk about is the funeral of the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Well, that was underwhelming. That's all I
You
got.
know, you've seen one belt be thrown over a bridge, you see them all. You know, I'm just, is that me? Am I the only one?
I
who
thought it
just
was
kinda,
a lot. Thought it was a lot more happening. So that was
right?
they booked.
Is that
this,
the thing you do with belts? You just throw them over bridges? Like, I feel like that's the only thing I've ever seen happen with belts. You just throw them over the bridge into what? I don't know.
You defend them
Is that
and then you throw them in water. That's the only thing.
Is that
you
an
do with
unwritten rule? That's how
Yeah.
you get rid of a belt? I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially after, again, we had a little bit of a glimpse of that at Victory Road, and that was pretty exciting. Like that whole something a little bit more mysterious and dark that I was into, but the way that it was executed tonight, it was a little underwhelming. And again, it's
underwhelming.
literally been done a lot.
Very underwhelming. That's all I'd say. And the main event, the Motor City Machine Guns versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. I would give it to you to put the icing on the cake for tonight's show.
You know, I really liked this match. I didn't know how I was going to feel because I like tag team wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I really do. But this story has really dominated a lot throughout the past few weeks. And, you know, I was somewhat excited after the press pass call today. And, you know, the one thing on my mind, and I think this match kind of showcased that a little bit, is you have two teams, one that's probably been together one of the longest periods of time. I think the Good Brothers probably have something on that, but literally have been together 4 years. And then you have another team that's only been together for half this year. And so wondering how that dynamic was going to play out in the ring. And I think the Motor City Machine Guns absolutely were able to capitalize on that. I mean, the chemistry that they have, the ability they have to play off each other, they kind of predict each other's moves before it happens, the way that they're there for each other. I mean, it really showcased why they are the best team in all of Impact Wrestling and one of the best in all of pro wrestling right now. But you do see a lot of unpredictable elements. I mean, Madman Fulton is a beast. And he just has this pure energy and aggression that you cannot contain. You know, Ace Austin can help mitigate it a little bit and direct it, but Madman Fulton's going to do what Madman Fulton's going to do. And if that means, you know, put you in a huge chokehold and watch you choke or pass out, you know, that is what he's going to do. So I really liked the contrast in partnerships in a way, and really showcasing, you know, how those can be a testament and an advantage to a team, but also, you know, in the case of Ace Austin and Madman, the fact that they haven't been a team for that long and they just have, you know, a lot of pure talent and physicality, you know, they really laid it into the Motor City Machine Guns. So, and ultimately, again, we did see the interference of the other two teams involved in the Bound for Glory match. The North came out to try and build a distraction, but then the Good Brothers came in to help, you know, balance things out, because they did tell the Motor City Machine Guns that they had, you know, their backs prior to this match. So, you know, a really, really good match. And for me, it was great to kind of showcase the two dynamics between these teams and giving us a glimpse of what we're going to expect at Bound for Glory.
Well said. Well said. Nothing to add there. I will definitely end it on that note. Look, we covered a lot tonight.
Yeah.
A little bit over our usual time, but it's weird. It was a lot of news to talk about.
It was a lot of news today. So
Yeah.
much stuff happened, and I think it's only going to lead to more. I mean, we're going to continue with these press pass calls. We're leading up to a week packed full of Impact content before we hit to Bound for Glory. So this may just be the new norm, at least for the next few weeks, because it's just a lot.
Yeah,
but we
true.
know that you guys, you know, want all this information. You rely on us to give it to you. So we're going to make sure you know what you need to know as we get closer to Bound for Glory.
You heard it from my tag team partner, folks. It's actually this way. But nonetheless, did I do it this week? You did it too, see?
I did.
Go the odd way. Always the odd way.
Odd way. Oh.
But yeah, that's right. Miranda coming in for the hot tag, and that will do it for this week. Definitely step back over to our YouTube channel. Next Tuesday, we will be back covering Impact on Access TV. And again, like you said, each and every week, we will be covering and giving you the latest and hottest things from the press conference that happens each week. So definitely stay tuned for that. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching tonight. Let us know in the comments what you thought about tonight's show, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Big Gold Bell.